Welcome back. Today's lesson is about gerunds and infinitives. This can be a quite complicated lesson because normally when teachers teach this rule, they teach a list of verbs that take gerunds and another list of verbs that take infinitives, and it's oh so complicated, and you really don't have any rule that you can fall back on so you know which one to use. Here's a couple examples that I already put on the board. I enjoy going to the movies because everybody will tell you that the verb enjoy takes a gerund. What is a gerund, by the way? It's the verb with the ing on the end. Whereas the verb want always takes an infinitive. I want to go to the movies. Infinitive, of course, you know, has to at the beginning of it. So I've identified the gerund in green and the infinitive in red. But how can you remember all of that list of verbs and which ones they take? Do they take a gerund or do they take an infinitive? Well, I have an 80% rule, which is better than a no rule, but I have an 80% rule where you can figure out which one. So over here, let's do it right in the middle actually. I'm going to do stop. Okay, I stopped smoking, K-I-N-G. I stopped smoking. Now let's look at what that looks like on the timeline. I'll do a timeline in blue here. There's present tense, there's future. I stopped smoking, okay? What was I doing first? Well, I was smoking. So maybe I started at the age of 18 and I continued and I finally stopped smoking at the age of 28. So I smoked for 10 years there. And then I stopped smoking right there. So if you look at the timeline, smoking is here, smoking, so ing. Smoking is here, and stopping is here, S-T-O-P. So stopping is after smoking. And you'll notice in the sentence, smoking is second verb here. So let me just use another color. In my sentence, stop is the first verb, and smoking is the second verb. But if you look at the timeline, smoking is the first thing, and stopping is the second thing. When the order in the sentence is the opposite of the order in the timeline, then you use ing. I stopped smoking. Let's look at another example. Oh, this is going to be a little bit low. I'm sure you can see it. I stopped to smoke. I stopped to smoke. Now, smoking is not the thing that I stopped. I stopped talking so I could smoke. I stopped eating so I could smoke. I'm not really saying what I stopped. So when you look at the timeline here, very, very different than the timeline that we just did. I stopped to smoke. So what did I do first? I stopped. Right there, I stopped. What am I going to do second? I'm going to start smoking. There's my cigarette. So I'm going to start smoking right there. So if you look at which one happened first here, stop is number one in the sentence, and to smoke is number two verb in the sentence. But smoke, I stopped. This number one, stop, this is S-T-O-P here. And this is smoke here, S-M-O-K-E, stopped and smoke. The order is the same in the sentence. Stop and smoke, 1 and 2. And in real time, stop and smoke. This was first, this was second. When the time is the same in real time as in the sentence, when the two verbs are in the same order in both time and the sentence, you use the infinitive. And that's the really short rule. This works also with, there's other verbs that makes a difference whether you use the gerund or the infinitive. For example, the verb remember. You'd say, for example, remember to lock the door. What do you have to do first? You have to remember, and then you lock the door. That's the same in the sentence. So you say, to lock the door. But how about if I say, do you remember meeting her? That means you met her first, you remember now, so meeting was first, remembering is second. But in the sentence, do you remember meeting her is the opposite, so you use the ing. So you can use that little 80% rule to help you figure out whether these things are gerunds or infinitives. For example, if you look at this, I enjoy going to the movies. How do I know I enjoy it? Because I have already gone to the movies and I like the experience, but I had to have the experience first. And I liked the experience, so going to the movies was first, and then I figured out that I enjoy it. So it's the opposite of the sentence. Enjoy is first here, going to the movies is second, but in real time, going to the movies was first, enjoy was second. I want to go. Well, wanting is first. I'm not at the movies yet, but I want to go to the movies. I'm going to go later in the day. So I want to go. Wanting is first. Going is second. Same as the order in the sentence. Therefore, you use the infinitive. And that's the rule. Goodbye for now.